Hare Krishna. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktavranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan Ki Jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaura Nitai Ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Let's recite the verses. Shri Prarada Uvacha Brahmadaya Suragana Munayota Siddha Satvaikatana Gatayo Vacha Sampravahe Naraditum Purugunair Adunapi Pipru Kim Toshtumarhati Same Ari Ugurajate Manye Danabhijana Rupa Tapashrutojas Teja Prabhava Bala Paurisha Buddhi Yoga Naradanaya Hi Bhavanti Parasya Pumso Bhaktya Tutosha Bhagavan Gajayutapaya Vipradvisad Gunayuta Daravinda Naba Padaravinda Vimukat Swapachambarishtam Manyeta Darpita Mano Vachane Hitartha Pranam Punati Sakulam Natu Burimanaha Naivatmana Prabhurayam Nijalabha Purno Manam Janata Vidusak Karuno Vrinite Yat Yajjano Bhagavate Vidadita Manam Tachatmane Pratimukasya Yata Mukashri Tasmadaham Vigata Viklava Ishvarasya Sarvatmana Mahi Grinami Yata Manisham Nicho Jaya Guna Visargamanu Pravishta Puyeta Ena Hipuman Anuvarnitena Sarvehi Ami Vidikarastava Satvadamno Brahmadayo Vayamivesha Nacho Dvijantaha Shemaya Bhutaya Utatma Shukaya Chasya Vikriditam Bhagavato Ruchiravatare Tadyachamanyum Ashurascha Hatastvayadya Modeta Sadhurapi Vrishchika Sarpahatya Lokascha Nirvritimita Pratiyanti Sarve Rupam Narsimha Vibhayaya Janasmaranti Naham Bibeti Ajitate Bhayanakasya Jivarka Netra Burkuti Rabashugradam Srat Antrasraja Shatajakeshara Shanku Karnan Nirada Bita Digibatari Binnakagrat Trastosmyaham Kripanavatsala Dushahugra Samsara Chakra Kadanad Grasatam Pranitaha Baddhasva Karma Birushattamate Moolam Pritopa Varga Sharanam Vayase Kadanu Yasmat Priya Priya Viyoga Samyoga Janma Shokagnina Shakala Yonishu Dayyamanaha Dukkaushadam Tadapi Dukam Atadhyaham Bhumam Brahmami Vadame Tavadasya Yogam Soham Priyasya Shuhrda Paradevataya Leela Katastava Nrsimha Virincha Gita Anjastitarmi Anugrunan Guna Vipramukto Durganite Padayugalaya Hamsa Sangha Balasya Neha Sharanam Pitaro Nrsimha Nartasya Chagadam Udanvati Majjatauno Taptasya Tat Pratividirya Ihanga Sheshtas Tavad Vibhot Anubhritam Tvadupekshitanam Yasmin Yato Yarhi Yena Cha Yasya Yasmad Yasmai Yata Yatutasyastva Parapparova Bhavak Karoti Vikaroti Pritak Svabhava Sanchotitastadakilam Bhavatasvarupam Maya Manasrijati Karmamayam Baliyaha Kalena Chodita Gunanumatena Pumsaha Chandomayam Yad Ajayarpita Shodasharam Samsara Chakramajako Titaretvadanyaha Svatam hi Nitya Vijitatma Gunasvadamna Kalo Vashikrita Visrijya Visarga Shaktihi Chakre Visrishtam Ajayeshvada Shodashare Nishpidyamanam Upakarsha Vibho Prapannam Drishta Maya Divi Vibho Kila Dishnapanam Ayushriyo Vibhava Ichchati Yanjanoyam Yesmat Pituk Kupita Hasa Vijrambita Bru Vispurjitena Lulita Satute Nirashtaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'll read the translation. So these are the series of prayers of Prahlad Maharaj to Lord Narasimhadev. Verse 7, 9, 14. Translation. My dear Narasimhadeva, please, therefore, cease your anger now that my father, the great demon Hiranyakashipu, has been killed. Since even saintly persons take pleasure in the killing of a scorpion or a snake, all the worlds have achieved great satisfaction because of the death of this demon. Now they are confident of their happiness, and they will always remember your auspicious incarnation in order to be free from fear. Modeta sadhurapi vrishchika sarpahatya. Once there was a person who was causing a lot of troubles for devotees when Srila Prabhupada was building the temple in Juhu, Mumbai. So one day as Prabhupada was on world tour, Shrutakirti Prabhu was his servant. Phone rings in one of the temple, he picks up the call, and then he conveys the message to Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada, that person who was causing issues, he actually died last night because of heart attack. Prabhupada says, Jai. Usually you don't feel jubilated when somebody dies. But then there are festivals that are celebrated. One of the tradition also people say for Diwali. Of course, Diwali signifies a lot of events. Diwali is the day when Lord Ram returned to Ayodhya. Diwali is also the day when Damodar Leela, Krishna being tied to the grinding mortar, and then later on him dragging the grinding mortar and delivering Yamalarjuna trees. That Leela also happened. Diwali also is the day when Narakasura was killed. In some places, people just know that one single fact, and they celebrate only for the death of a demon. So when somebody... So at that time, Prabhupada quotes this verse, Modeta sadhurapi vrishchika sarpahatya. Whenever snakes or scorpion are killed because they cause so much harm. In one place, Prabhupada says, snake is considered dangerous because they're always agitated. Even if you don't harm them, they'll still come and harm you. Can you imagine if you are in a room, there is a snake, can you be peaceful? We can never be. Shastras know about it. So Shastras say being born as a snake is one of the most condemned creature to be in, species to be in, because of the nature of being agitated all the time and attacking someone even without being provoked. Shastra said there won't be much scope for them to experience love and happiness if you are born in a snake. Sometimes when we go through depression or anxiety, we try to come out of it by doing different means. Can you imagine a whole lifestyle on that, right from the day you are born? That's snake. So it's a pretty condemned life to be in. So, Modeta sadhurapi vrishchika sarpahatya. So even though sadhus, they are very merciful, but whenever snakes or scorpions, when they cause so much harm and they are killed, even sadhus become very happy. Normally, sadhus are very sad when they see a living entity giving up its body or being killed. But in this particular case, Srila Prabhupada quotes, and then he says he was causing so much trouble for the demons, for the devotees rather, trying to stop by all means the building of the temple. So Krishna has taken him away like that. Okay, so today we are going to continue discussing on brihadbhagavatamrita. So we were at a place, just to give you
just on the line of snake, so is it simple to kill a snake?
we'll focus on brihadbhagavatamrita. Ghosts, whenever I talk about ghosts, I know there are a lot of questions always. Snakes also, everyone get excited. Mataji, you just use this door, Mataji. They have kept it locked, otherwise devotees keep coming back and forth, disturbing the class. So whenever the class happens, don't open that door, please open this one. So, ghosts also evokes a lot of questions. Snakes also. We'll park that aside for now, and we'll discuss on Sri Brihadbhagavatamrita. So just to give you a bit of a recap, we are reading Brihadbhagavatamrita part 1. Brihadbhagavatamrita is considered as the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it has 14 chapters altogether. We are in the 3rd chapter now. So the first part, or the first half of Brihadbhagavatamrita, first 7 chapters, talks about the quest of Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a great devotee of the Lord. His position will be described later. Brihadbhagavatamrita glorifies Narada Muni also, especially in part 2. But Narada Muni, him being a great devotee, he had this desire to understand who is the devotee who is most favored by the Supreme Lord. Normally, let's say you stand in a queue and with a plate on Vyasa Puja. Recently we had actually Tirubho festival of His Holiness Bhakticharu Swami Maharaj. I don't know if you have seen the video. They have actually made so many items. It was lined up literally all along the length of the whole restaurant area. In like 4 or 5 tables like that. So when you take the plate there, everyone gets some serving. When the number of servings are not fixed, or even the items that are served is actually not fixed, you will get curious. Okay, I got this, what has that devotee got? What has that devotee got? You may not say, I'm looking at it, but your eyes will look. You can't stop your eyes. Okay, it's like that. So, Narada Muni is a great devotee of the Lord. So, Narada Muni is glorifying when he has the desire to see, wow. But in material sense, if somebody gains something greater than us, Prabhupada says we tend to get jealous. We want to pull them down. I may suffer, but no matter what, you also need to suffer. But in spirituality, when somebody in spiritual world, in pure devotional platform, when a devotee sees some other devotee being favored by the Lord, they get more happy. That's why it said when Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they are there being served by the close circle of gopis, intimate gopis, and then there is like next level of gopis. The gopi who is standing furthest away from the divine couple, she enjoys the most. Why? Because she would see Radha Krishna enjoying, she would see the next level of gopis enjoying, serving them. We will see the next level of gopis assisting those gopis serving, they also get happy. This way, their happiness will be at the maximum. So whatever we experience in material world the same way, if there is only so much prasad that's there, who do you think will feel fortunate? The one standing in the front of the queue or one at the back? It's natural, the one at the front of the queue. But in spirituality, it's not like that because their pleasure is unlimited. So more one sees and glorifies others feeling happy, they feel more happy. So in this case, Narada Muni had the desire to understand who is the devotee who is most favored by the Lord. So first he goes to Prayag, and there he sees a Brahmana glorifying him. And then he says, I'm not the most favored devotee of the Lord. There is one king in South India, you should go and meet him. Then Narada Muni goes to South India from there. And then glorifying that South Indian king. And then that king says, look, I'm not a great devotee of the Lord. Indra is the one most favored. Then he goes to Indra. Indra points to Brahma. Likewise, he goes to Brahma, and then Brahma points him to, no, not me, Shiva only. Then he goes to Shivaloka in spiritual world. That's where Narada Muni is now. So what we are going to see today is when Narada Muni glorifies, we saw last week Shiva starts to refute why he is not the most favored. And then now Shiva is going to start to glorify Prahlad Maharaj, saying he is the one who is most favored. So today we will go through the glorification of Lord Shiva about Prahlad Maharaj. Next week we are going to take a slight detour because if you look from a cosmological perspective, already from North India he has gone to South India. From South India he has gone to Swargaloka. From Swargaloka he has gone to Satyaloka. From Satyaloka he has gone to Shivaloka above. And then from Shivaloka, Prahlad Maharaj, where does he live? He lives in Sutala planet. He'll go below Bhumandala again. So we'll pause with whatever we are discussing, which is end of 3rd chapter. We'll finish 3rd chapter today. Next week, we'll focus just on a recap of Vedic cosmology for us to understand, because as brihadbhagavatamrita proceeds, the location changes quite drastically. So we need to understand the context from geography perspective also. So next week, I don't know whether I'll use the board or maybe some PowerPoints, and we'll go through the cosmology both inside the universe as well as we'll touch, or rather both on this plane where we live, which is called Bhumandala, the ones above as well as ones below. Okay, so that's what we'll discuss next week. So next week, we may not be reading verses directly from Brihadbhagavatamrita, but that is very important to understand about the context. And then the week after, we'll start from 4th chapter, which is to Sutala planet. So that's the plan. Which verse were we in? Yeah, I got it. So last week we saw Lord Shiva glorifying about the position of devotees in Vaikuntha, how they were always blessed to be in the association of Krishna all the time. And then we were discussing about the qualities of devotees in Vaikuntha. The very term Vaikuntha means place where there is no anxiety. This material world is called Kunta. Kunta means the place with full of anxiety. Prahlad Maharaj says that in material world you make a lot of plans to be happy, but happiness eludes you. You try to avoid unhappiness and trouble, but trouble catches you. How many of you have that experience? All of us have. You make plans to be happy, happiness will run away from you. You try to run away from problem, problem comes and catches you. But then in Shastras, there is a term called Madhurena Samapayat, which means Shastras, there will always be happy ending. There won't be any poignant story. Have you seen some movies? Hero will die. Heroine also will die. And then who? Their parents also will die. And like, why do you even watch the movie? You come out feeling depressed, you know. Actually, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says in one lecture, in Kali Yuga, people are so bored. To evoke some emotion, they sit and watch horror movies. You know, you feel so bored sometime, you know. Yeah, let me just watch that. At least let me feel a little scared, you know. Happens. So, but Shastras are not like that. Shastras are very straightforward. In some instances, you will even find, you know, they are very quite brutal when it comes to stating the truth. But Shastras also make sure that after stating the truth, they will also tell you the solution. Okay, so it's very important that when we approach the Shastra, we don't just take only one half and says like, nah, this always is crushing my plans. I'm not going to read Shastra. It's very negative. That's not the idea. Idea there is, because just like our parents, they love us so much, they would correct us. If we just take that one single part, why are my parents always chastising me? They don't love me. That's a wrong conclusion. Them correcting us is their expression of love. Same way, if with the intensity of mistake that we do is more, then the gravity of correction also will be more. How many of you have that experience? I have plenty in my childhood days. So, whereas Shastra is also same way, because we are in a very precarious position in the material world, very dangerous position. So Shastra is also like, hey, don't do this, you will suffer. It'll, out of love, it'll come. But then, as I said, Madhurena Samapayat, which means the style of the Puranakars, the style of narration of Shastras is always that, as I said, there won't be any sad ending. You take any story which you think is tragic in Purana, I will tell you the happy ending of that. Our problem is we only read one half of the story. That's the problem. We were touching on few stories, even Vishwamitra. You know, first time he goes Menaka, we stop there only and we keep on telling the same thing. But that's not the point. What happened after that? He did tapasya again. Second time Indra sent Urvashi. This time Vishwamitra got very scared and he cursed Urvashi. You become a stone. Again he lost his tapobal, because first time he gave, or rather he lost himself because of lust. Second time he lost himself because of anger. And Vishwamitra is like, oh no, do I have to start again? He starts again. Third time he becomes successful. He became so successful that he became Guru of Lord Ram. He became spiritual master of even Krishna. And you will see him in every avatar, Leela, from that point onwards. He is there. He is one of the Sapta Rishis now. Likewise, you take any instance, Mrigari, Valmiki. Valmiki has a past history as Daku Ratnakar. But then happy ending is he became Valmiki. Okay, likewise, you take any Shaubari Muni. He was actually offending Garuda. Because of that, he was doing tapasya under the water. And then he lost the inspiration. He became lusty just looking at the fishes, copulating with each other. Then he comes out and he goes and marries 50 daughters of King Mandata. And then later on, again, when he grows a little older, he comes back to his senses and is like, hey, what did I do? I actually went under the water to do tapasya. Look what I'm actually ended up as. And then he takes up bhakti full on. Bhagavatam says, then he went back to Golaka Vrindavan. It's giving there. He has gone back to Vaikuntha. So any story, if you take in Shastras, there is always a happy ending. Okay. Be it, there will always be clash between demigods and demons. Always you will see Indra running, Chandra running, demigods, they'll become more and more powerful. That's only one half of the story. Okay, the other half of the story is someone like Durga will manifest. She will kill everyone. Or Vishnu will come as Mohini Murti, releasing Sudarshan Chakra, killing. So there will always be that seesaw battle. Krishna will, this morning somebody sent me a quote and it said, like a contemporary quote, it says, Krishna never promises peaceful weather in the ocean. But Krishna promises that your ship will be steady no matter what. So situation around us will always be like that. Because the situation, the world is designed to give us problem. It's not a flaw, it's a feature. It's like going to a prison and saying, I don't like the customer service here. Excuse me, you are supposed to suffer there. Material world is like that. We are supposed to suffer here. That's why you see problems coming here. So problems happening in life is not unusual. Us expecting to be happy in this world is unusual. Okay, so Shastras bring that proper perspective and Shastras teaches how to wade through these tricky waters and still find happiness in this. Still become immune to this problem that is always surrounding us. Problems that's coming to our life even without us inviting them. Now in terms of the one half which I said of Prahlad Maharaj is saying that you don't make plans to get problems, but problems do come to your life. You make plans to achieve happiness, but happiness eludes you. This is only one half. Remember, Madhurena Samapet. Second half of this is, Prahlad Maharaj says, just like how happiness leaves you, it doesn't stay with you for a long time. Okay, you may have your marriage day, anniversary day, birthday. That day you will think you are the king of the universe, the queen of the universe. Next day it's the same you, but nobody comes and gives you cake. If you look at little kids actually celebrating, you can see so much excitement, or some festival coming, or I'm going on holidays, something. That excitement will be more, but then after some time you get bored about it. Okay, so happiness, even after you achieve, will leave you. Prahlad Maharaj says, surprise, surprise, sadness, problems in life also will leave you. Usually we don't think like that. We tend to think problems come to us permanently. Happiness only is staying with us temporarily. Prahlad Maharaj says, no, that's not how it works. As much as troubles come to you uninvitedly, troubles also leave you, which means you can't become more sad than what is due to you. Understand? The unhappiness that's due to you, that's also there is a certain quota only. Okay, you may feel the most near and dear one, leaving. You will sit sad. Okay, one day, 2 days after that word, you will start to feel hungry, correct? You will get up, start to eat. And then after some days, what will happen? You will feel a little bored. You may watch TV. And then things just move on. That's what happens. Same way you may lose job. Anything. You may break up a relationship. You may fail in an exam. I have done. It's called realized knowledge. So, happens. But you forget about it. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mataha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. Okay, so Shastras always tell both the sides. Okay, it will tell us the reality, but it will always give us the hope, how things work. Okay, so let's continue with this. So Vaikuntavasis, Lord Shiva was glorifying. Kunta means a place where there is anxiety. trouble. This material world is called Kunta. It's called Devi Dam. Devi means Durga Devi. Have you seen Durga Devi raising trident? Durga Devi's trident has got 3 sharp points. Have you seen? So those 3 sharp points, they signify Adi Atmik Klesha, Adi Bhautik Klesha, Adi Daivik Klesha. Adi Atmik means there are troubles which we create for ourselves. How many of you are with me? And you think, you curse yourself, I know this is wrong. And then you will have nobody to feel angry about except yourself. We have got that experience. It's called Adi Atmik. Self-inflicted. Adi Daivik means anything that is caused by demigods. Earthquake, bushfire, corona. Somebody was asking me, Prabhu, is there a demigod for coronavirus? Most likely yes. You know, we have 330 million. Why not? So anything that is caused naturally. Tsunami, all of that. Adi Daivik. Adi Bhautik, needless to say. You will always have that one person in life who will cause you trouble, correct? So that's Adi Bhautik. Things, problem that's coming from other living entities, not just humans. Mosquitoes come and bite. You know, sometimes you think, I'm a very innocent person. Why are you biting? It will still come and bite. Okay, everything. So this way, we can actually see there are 3 different types of problems. That's why Durga Devi, when she raises her trident, you see those 3 sharp points in Trishul. If we don't take shelter of Krishna, Krishna says, Daivi Yesha Gunamai Mamamaya Duradhyaya, 7:14, Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, if you don't surrender to me, she will keep piercing you. That's what it means, that verse. Mam evaya prapadyante maya metam tarantite. But one who take my shelter, then she won't trouble you anymore. So in this instance, Shiva is saying the residents of Vaikunta, they are living there being in the constant company of the Lord. So normally when we think about anxiety, we would think, going for work on Monday morning, preparing for exam, test, attending interviews, whatever, paying mortgage, getting loan, buying house. We may think all of this as in one sense a cause of anxieties. But the real anxiety, Lord Shiva says, reason why that spiritual world is called Vaikunta is the residents of that place, they have no anxiety. Now the question comes, what is that anxiety? Shiva says, every other place, sometimes Krishna may be there or may not be there. Krishna also sometimes appears in Shivaloka. Krishna appears sometimes in Buloka also. But Krishna appears sometimes and then disappears also. He is not visible to everyone all the time. But Vaikunta means the residents there, they have no anxiety of losing sight of Krishna. This is the definition which Lord Shiva is giving. That's why that place is called Vaikunta. Because devotees have only one problem, which is they want to be with Krishna. And they can't stand to even think about missing Krishna. There is a place in Vrindavan called the Prem Sarovar. So one day, Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they both are right next to each other. And then there was a bumblebee who was coming and causing trouble. So Krishna calls one of the Gopa and he says, drive this bumblebee away. Then he comes, drives it away, and then he comes back and he says, I have driven away Madhu. Madhu is one of the name of Krishna also. Radharani, when she hears, what? Madhu is gone, and then she starts to crying, falling on the lap of Krishna only. Krishna is right next to her. But the thought itself, now it doesn't stop there. Krishna seeing Radharani crying, oh, Radharani is crying, he is also starting to cry. Hey, she is crying because you are not there, even though you are there. You are supposed to pacify, but no, you are actually doing. But this is the beauty of Krishna Prema. So that for devotees, they don't want to even hear, even though in this case, and you will see many pastimes like that. Rukmini Devi, Krishna comes from Hastinapur after a long time. Rukmini Devi, it's given, first she embraces Krishna, looking at him because Krishna is standing in a general assembly and she is a queen. She can't go and embrace him openly. Then she lets the kids to go and embrace. That's the second embrace that's given. And third, when Krishna comes to private quarters, that's when she gets to embrace. And there it's given that she is thinking Krishna is going to leave, and she starts to cry already. And then Krishna says, what's the problem? Are the kids following your instructions properly? Are the maidservants cooperating with you? Why are you crying? And then she says, well, you are here now, soon you will live. Thinking about that impending separation, I'm already starting to cry. So for devotees, the biggest cause of anxiety is losing Krishna. Okay, so it's important for us to understand. So Vaikuntha means place where there is even not that anxiety, because Krishna is there 24/7, all the time. It's there. Okay. So Shiva is glorifying. So when Narada Muni, reason why Shiva is saying this is, Narada Muni had glorified Shiva saying, you are the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. And Shiva is saying, what mercy did I receive? Most of the times I end up giving boons to demons, and they end up somehow or other disturbing the devotees. And to set things right, he comes. And I feel very embarrassed every time I am disturbing him. Sometimes he worships me also, and I even go and give him boon. And I feel very bad. What kind of, suddenly, that's the example I was giving last week. Suddenly, if say your spiritual master, your guru says, you know what, I feel very, very satisfied with your service. I'm feeling so satisfied. I want to serve you as my guru. And he starts to serve you. How will that experience be? Unthinkable. Embarrassing. So Shiva is feeling like that, and he's saying, this is really not Krishna favoring me. I think he's keeping me a little distant. That's why. Because if somebody is intimate, last week we were discussing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastising Jagadananda Pandit and glorifying Sanatana Goswami. Normally, if we are in that position, we would feel very happy. Somebody finally understood my worth and they are glorifying me. But Sanatana Goswami is saying, my Lord, why are you giving the nectar of chastisement to Jagadananda Pandit and the bitter neem juice of glorification for me? Don't try that with your employer. Why are you giving me promotion, which is tasting like bitter juice? And why are you not giving for my, fellow mates? That's not what you do. Remember, this is spirituality. Spiritual culture is like this. Here you genuinely feel like that. Material world, you try doing that, people will exploit you. So don't do that. Okay, so here Shiva is saying, Sri Parvati. But in Vaikuntha, devotees always relish ongoing pleasure pastimes in the very company of the Lord. Verse 62. Therefore, devotees sometimes prefer to live there. So, one question that may come is, how much should we worry about going to Vaikuntha? Does that mean this pleasure, this relishing of Krishna Bhakti can be done only in the physical presence of the Lord? That question comes. Shiva says, actually there is no difference. Narayana parasarve na kutaschana bibhyati swarga apavarka narakeshu apitulyartha darshinaha. Shiva says for devotees it doesn't matter where they live, whether in Vaikuntha, Bhuloka or apavarga, swarga, apavarga, even lower planetary system, it doesn't matter. Why? They always are connected to the Supreme Lord deep in the core of the heart, because they carry tirti kurvanti tirtani swantastena gretaprita. It's given that the Krishna is actually in the heart of the devotees and they carry Krishna wherever they go. So for the devotees, there is no difference, except that in Vaikuntha they can actually see Krishna face to face. So sometimes devotees prefer to be there. This is what Lord Shiva said. That is why I say the residents of Vaikuntha are greater than everyone else. So this is Shiva's verdict. First Shiva says about the residents of Vaikuntha. And then you will see discussion about Lakshmi ji comes. And then you will see discussion about Prahlad Maharaj comes after that. All in the same chapter. Stay tuned. As the objects of Krishna's special mercy, they are his most beloved devotees. Now, Mother Parvati, she is also joining the discussion there. Sri Parvati said, furthermore, among them all. So Shiva is first giving the glorification to the residents of Vaikuntha as a whole. But now Parvati is going to single out Lakshmi Devi alone and saying, among all of them, she is the best. And Sanatana Goswami writes that Parvati Devi, she is very close friends with Mahalakshmi. So she looks for every opportunity to glorify Lakshmi ji. So later on you will see Shiva, when he glorifies about Prahlad Maharaj, he will actually put his arm around Narada Muni's shoulder and he'll take him aside and he'll say, I'll tell you something confidential. Because he doesn't want to glorify someone who's superior than even Lakshmiji's bhakti, according to Krishna, which Parvati may not actually like to hear. So that's why there it's actually given that Shiva has actually taken Narada Muni to the side to say, okay, I'll tell you something confidential. And he says something and he says, look, this is how much I can glorify. And he goes back. And then he goes to meet Prahlad Maharaj. That's how this chapter ends. So here, Parvati Devi, first she's saying, furthermore, among them all, the goddess Sri is famous as especially dear to Lord. She is indeed the ruling goddess of Vaikuntha and its residents. If you go to Sri Vaishnava, as the name itself indicates, Sri Vaishnavism, main temples in India, so many of them, 108 Divya Kshetra, 106 Tirupati, Kanchipuram, Srirangam, all South Indian temples you will come across. They are all practicing Sri Vaishnavism only. Their prominent acharyas, Sri Ramanujacharya. For them, their worship, if you speak to them, they'll tell you that our guru is, they call Tayar, is mother. Our guru is Lakshmiji. And then we simply follow her. Their worship is always towards being a servant of Lakshmiji in her service to Lord Narayana. This is the mood and this is their culture actually. Even now you go, everywhere you go, there are songs that will glorify only Lakshmiji's devotion to Lord, and there are songs where the devotee will constantly offer prayers simply to become the servant of Lakshmiji there. So here it's given she is indeed the ruling goddess of Vaikuntha and its residents. So of the four Sampradaya, which is given as bona fide in Padma Purana, one is, we follow Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya in ISKCON. So Brahma Sampradaya is one, the lineage that's coming from Lord Brahma. He is the first guru in this lineage. There is Rudra Sampradaya. There is one Sampradaya that is starting from Lord Shiva onwards. So he is the first guru there. There is Kumara Sampradaya. Kumara, in South India, if you go and say Kumara, people will think that's Lord Karthik. This Kumara is different. This is four Kumaras: Shanaka, Sanatana, Sananda, Sanat. So this is four Kumaras. This is again another bona fide Sampradaya. This is the third. First is Brahma. Second is Rudra. Third is the four Kumara Sampradaya. Fourth one is called Sri Sampradaya. Sri Sampradaya is the lineage of Vaishnavas that's starting from Sri Devi or Lakshmiji herself coming. So she is the ruling goddess of Vaikuntha and its residents. Her mercy expands wherever she casts her sidelong glance. Thus the rulers of the various planets obtain their powers, their knowledge, their detachment and their devotion simply by her glance. Ignoring people like you who worship her with great respect. Now Parvati is saying this to Narada Muni. Ignoring people like you who worship her with great respect, she vowed to undergo severe penances to worship her beloved Lord, even though he was indifferent to her. So there are pastimes you will see, even if you read the Sthala Puran of even Tirupati, how Balaji came there. The pastime goes all the way to Vaikuntha. Once when Bhrigu Muni goes and he kicks on the chest of Vishnu, and you know that pastime. And then Lakshmiji, because she has witnessed that event, she becomes very upset. She has offended simply seeing somebody kick her own worshipable Lord. And then she goes down to purify herself. She comes down to this world. And then Vishnu, also feeling very lonely without Lakshmiji, he also comes down. So that's Balaji. So you will see every pastime of Vishnu so closely connected to Lord Vishnu only. And she herself undergoes severe penances. Despite her unrivaled status as the ruling goddess of Vaikuntha, she considers herself as a menial servant of Vishnu, menial servant of her devotees, and she herself practices severe austerities. So this way, Parvati Devi is glorifying Lakshmiji. This most perfect of chaste wives resides forever on his beautiful chest and follows him in all his incarnations. Because of that, Lord Vishnu is known as Sri Nivasa. Nivasa means residence. Because Sri Devi always resides within her chest. You look at Lord Balaji, you'll see Sri Devi, Bhudevi, Padmavati. Both the side, and they decorate also beautifully. If you see, next time, photo of Lord Balaji, you can see Goddess of Fortune on his chest. Sri Parikshit said, then the sage, his mind vibrating with extreme delight, called out, glories to you, O husband of goddess Kamala, O Hari, Lord Vaikuntha. Glories to you, O Vaikuntha world. Glories to all who live there. And glories to you, O Padma, Lord Krishna's beloved, O presiding goddess of Vaikuntha. So he is glorifying Vaikuntha, residence, and singling out Lakshmi ji also. Then wanting to visit Vaikuntha and personally offer respects to the goddess of fortune, Narada stood up. Seeing this, Lord Shiva took him by the hand to stop him. Same thing happened when Narada Muni, he stood up and he was wanting to see Lord Shiva in Kailash, in material world. When he was looking to go, Lord Brahma could read what is going on in his heart, and he says, wait, where you want to go is good, but the exact location is not down, it's up. Go to the original version. What you have in material world is just the prototype version of it. You go to the original place, and where you will see Lord Shiva in his full opulence. And we were discussing about this point last week. Whenever we think about Lord Shiva, we think about his body smeared with all ashes, wearing a garland of bones. He sometimes dances in crematorium, that's what you see. But the place where Narada Muni goes is in spiritual world. This is called Shivaloka. In Shivaloka, just like how you see Lord Narayan being worshipped in Vaikuntha, like that Shiva is being worshipped here with full regalia, with full pomp, with full opulence here. Okay, Shiva acts in a certain way in material world to teach all of us, to understand, look, everything at the end of the day is going to become like Bhasma only, so don't worry too much about this place. Keep going in your bhakti and practicing your bhakti and go back to the spiritual world. To teach everyone by his example as Acharya, he acts in a certain way. He doesn't build a home for himself. He says, what's the point, waste of time? Inflation is going up. So he doesn't worry much. He always tells people, this is just a temporary place, go back to the spiritual world. So that's part of his preaching strategy. That's why he acts in a certain way. But if you want to see Lord Shiva also in his full glory, you have to go to Shivaloka, and that is also one of the spiritual planets. Okay, there Shiva lives eternally. Okay, Shiva is not an ordinary living entity. He is also not in Vishnu Tattva. He is in Shiva Tattva. He is a category on his own. Shastras say like that. Okay, so here, then wanting to, similarly here, Narada Muni, having heard about the glories of Vaikuntha, he now is getting ready to go to Vaikuntha. Now at that time, Shiva is stopping him, because Shiva could read what's going on in the heart of Narada Muni. And he's saying, Sri Mahesha said, which is Lord Shiva, my dear Narada, because of your eagerness to see the dearest devotees of Krishna, you have lost your memory. Doesn't you remember that the Lord of Vaikuntha is living right now on earth in Dwaraka? So he is saying, you don't need to go up to see. Actually, the original Lord is actually down there in the world, because this pastime happened during the time of Pandavas. Okay, if you look at the chronological series of events here, Queen Rukmini is the supreme goddess of fortune herself. So Rukmini ji is Lakshmi ji. And Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Rukmini's partial incarnations accompany Lord Vamana and other avatars of the Lord. We saw earlier that when Narada Muni goes to Swargaloka, there he sees Vamana Dev being worshipped by different devotees. Along with the different devotees is his own divine consort, Kirti Devi. That's the name of Lakshmi ji, who is the wife or the divine consort of Vamana Dev. So, but who is the source of all the incarnations? It's Rukmini. So sit down, my dear Brahmana, and I shall whisper in your ear a great secret. Please hear this with absolute confidence. And now he is going. Initially we saw Shiva first diverting all the glorification to the residents of Vaikuntha, and then Parvati ji, she then says, actually among all the residents of Vaikuntha, Lakshmi ji is the greatest. And then when Narada Muni is getting ready to go, Shiva is stopping him and he says, let me whisper a secret in your ear. And he says, there is a greater recipient of Krishna's mercy than your father. Who is Narada Muni's father? Brahma. So he is saying, there is a greater recipient of Krishna's mercy than your father, which is Brahma, me, which is Shiva himself, because he is saying this verse, and other servants like Garuda and even the goddess of fortune. His name is Prahlada. Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. He is famous throughout the world as the dearmost devotee of Krishna. Says who? Lord Shiva. Actually, Narsingdev also said the same thing. He said, you are the best devotee. Past and present, you are the best. So, Prahlad Maharaj, surely you haven't forgotten the Supreme Lord's words about this. So now, some may say Shiva, on his overwhelming feeling to glorify, he's just saying. He's saying like, no, it's not just me who is saying. Now I'll recite what Narsingdev himself has said. He is quoting authority here. And when Narsingdev quoted, not just Shiva was present, Narada Muni was present, Brahma was present, all the demigods were present, everyone witnessed what was happening. Surely you haven't forgotten the Supreme Lord's words about this. You must have read them in the Puranas and must remember the following verse. Shriyam atyantikim vapi esham gatir aham para. Without saintly persons, for whom I am the only destination, I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss or my supreme opulences. This is what Krishna is saying, that Krishna's divine personal form is the source of all demigods including me and gives great pleasure to his devotees. But the Lord considers his own body worthless compared to the value of his devotees. The reason why Shiva is quoting here is, for Krishna, the most valuable opulence, asset, the things which he values the most is his own devotees. That's why he is known as Bhakta Vatsala. He is not known as Jnani Vatsala. Have you come across any term like that? He is not known as Yogi Vatsala. Have you come across any term? Karmakandi Vatsala. No. He is known as Bhakta Vatsala. That's a name that's used to denote only, or used to address only Krishna. Nobody else. Because he considers that as his most valuable asset. If you read Krishna Leela, some places you will see, when Brahma comes and sees, there is a pastime you will see in 10th canto of Bhagavata Puran, or srimadbhagavatam. Lord Brahma comes and says, here is one boy in Vrindavan, he just killing all demons, left, right and center. Krishna used to kill 3 demons every day. Do you know that? Like, morning sometime, if you're a diabetes patient or something like that, they'll give you some medicine. You take this after every meal. Like that, Krishna, after finishing breakfast, he'll kill 1 demon. After lunch, he'll give 2nd demon. And then before going to dance with the gopis, he'll kill the dull demon. Like that, he was killing those many demons every day. All not small time demons. They are like big demons. Even demigods couldn't know what to do. So Krishna was just killing them effortlessly. So Lord Brahma thought, who is this boy? I just want to see who he is. Then when Brahma sees there is one pastime he witnesses, one day there was like a different cowherd boys, they come. Have you seen Krishna having lunch? There is one beautiful artwork. If you haven't, you can Google and see, or you can get a Krishna book copy, or you can see. That has about like 90 beautiful photos of Krishna and 90 stories of Krishna also. You can get them. So you will see Krishna seated in the center, and you will see all the different gopas seated around him, like a wall or wall of petals around the Padma Kosha, or the central part of the lotus. And everyone, if you look at their eyes, they'll be looking at Krishna only. And Bhagavatam says each one of them, they were convinced that Krishna is looking at only them. And Krishna was actually only looking at only them. All of them. Only Krishna can do that. Okay, so everyone is convinced Krishna is looking at only me. And everyone was feeding Krishna. Krishna is eating. At one point, there was a bowl of laddu. And then everyone was taking Madhumangal, one of Krishna's Brahmana friends, little stout. He is known for his fetish for laddus. There are many pastimes where he goes to steal laddus and he gets caught, get beaten up also. So in this particular instance, Madhumangal cheats and he says, I'm the Brahmana. And everyone says like, yeah, you are the Brahmana. And then Madhumangal cheats everyone and he eats. Then when Krishna, there was one piece left. When Krishna is trying to take, Madhumangal snatches that also and he puts. Guess what Krishna does? And he puts in the mouth full. Have you played when you are young? So when Madhumangal has his mouth filled with laddu, Krishna punched both his cheeks this way. What will happen if your mouth is filled with laddu and somebody punches here? Laddu will pop out. One laddu popped out. Krishna caught that in his mouth and he was eating. Now Brahma is watching this and he says, impossible, he cannot be Lord. Because he knows who Narayana is. Everything perfect. How everyone do Achaman 20 times a day, how they worship. Because to even attain the position of Brahma is not easy. Somebody must have done their own dharma for 100 consecutive births perfectly. So Brahma's position is like, he's like class topper when it comes to executing dharma in the whole universe. Not one lifetime, 100 lifetimes consecutively, mind you. So when he sees this, he's like, no, impossible. This is not my Lord. So Krishna, he is very dear to his devotees. Devotees are his aham bhakta paradino. He has asvatantra, ivadvijas. Sadhubir grashta hridaya, bhakter bhakta janapriya. Krishna says, aham bhakta paradino. He says, I am totally controlled by my devotees. He asvatantra, ivadvija. I am not independent of my devotees. He is telling it to Durvasa Muni. Krishna is saying this to Durvasa Muni. Sadhubir grasta hridaya bhakter bhakta janapriya. I always reside in the heart of my devotees. What to speak of my devotees? Like sometimes you may think, in every family there will always be people we all come from Indian background. Almost all of us. Ed. And usually people are devoted, they go to family, but in your family there will always be that one person who are slightly atheistic. How many of you have such persons in your family? I used to be that in my family. So Krishna is saying, so we may have worry, I am coming to temple. What will happen to my family members? What will happen to my kids? Will they take any benefit at all with me visiting? You can quote this verse. Aham bhakta paradino hi asvatantra hivadvija sadhubir grasta hridayo bhakter bhakta janapriya. What to speak of my devotees being dear to me? Even those related to my devotees, they are also dear to me. Krishna is saying this. It's in Bhagavatam. So Krishna is known to be so dear. There is one pastime in Krishna Lila. This story when Krishna is eating mud. And then everyone goes and complains to Yashoda Maya. And Yashoda Maya asks Krishna to open. It's a big pastime, but I'll just touch on one instance there. So when the complaint comes to Mother Yashoda that baby Krishna has eaten mud of Vrindavan. Yashoda Maharani was actually thinking at that time, so far complaints have come that Krishna is stealing butter, going there, stealing, yogurt, eating there. She was like, at least that is okay, it's good for his health. Now he's eating mud, I need to do something. This is not at all good. But then Acharyas, they write different commentaries why Krishna ate mud. One Acharya says, actually Krishna didn't eat mud. So when Mother Yashoda comes and asks, hey, are you eating mud? He says like, no Maya, I didn't eat mud. So then one Acharya says, actually Krishna never speaks a lie. Whatever he says is true. When Krishna says he didn't eat mud, actually he didn't eat mud. Why? Because the whole universe is anyway within his belly. Understand? But then Krishna is inside that also. That's what is inconceivable. How can you carry something and you are also there? Understand? Does that make sense? On one hand, whole creation is within Krishna's belly, but on the other hand, Krishna is also inside that creation. Inconceivable. Krishna himself is saying to Arjuna, this is inconceivable. Forget it, you cannot understand. We cannot understand this. Okay, so you might have seen this form of Lord, Vadapatra Kashayi. Baby Krishna lying on a banana leaf. And then, sucking his thumb or toe. Have you seen it? So there is one pastime there. There also same thing happened. Markandeya Rishi goes, he looks at that form of baby Krishna. He's like, who is that? This happens during Ardha Pralaya. Half of the universe, more than half the universe. So 14 planetary systems, 11 planetary systems have already submerged in water. At that time, he's going here, there, and finally he comes to a place, Godruma Dvipa. It's in Mayapur Dham, Navadvip Dham. Go means cow. So there he sees Kamadhenu cow. Druma means the tree. So there he sees the tree, and in that tree he sees a banyan tree, and in that leaf Krishna is lying down, and then he is sucking his toe. Reason why Krishna is sucking his toe is Krishna is thinking, devotees always say lotus feet, lotus feet. What is this lotus feet? Let me test and see. Everyone is saying this is, sweeter than the honey. What is there in my toe? Let me try. That's what Krishna is. He has his psychology. So when Markandeya Rishi looks at him, Krishna also looks at him, and then next second Krishna just sucks him inside his body. And when Markandeya Rishi goes inside his body, he could see all planetary systems, everything. And then in that also, he could see, when he's zooming in, hey, that looks like me, he's seeing him also there. And he sees the same form of the Lord, who he saw outside from when he is outside of his belly, when he saw Krishna in the tree, sucking his thumb, he saw the same inside also. Now he gets confused. My Lord, please, exit, I can't handle this anymore. This is like recursive programming. You keep going one level inside the other. So, inconceivable. So one Acharya says Krishna actually didn't eat mud, because mud is anyway inside him. Other Acharya says Krishna, he knows Vrindavan is the place that's very dear to him, and he knows Vrindavan is decorated not only by the pada duli or the dust of the lotus feet of his own, but it also has the dust of all his devotees. And he wanted to taste that. That's why he was eating like that. And then Krishna says to Mother Yashoda, no, Mother Yashoda, I haven't actually eaten mud. I can even show you. Normally, you look at, baby Krishna's psychology here, right? He is mimicking exactly how humans will act. Have you ever have experienced stealing things? Come on, be honest. When you are a child, you steal something, and you are like almost caught red-handed. One reverse psychology you will try to play is, you may have the thing which you stole in your pocket, but you will still say, actually I didn't steal, you can even check my pocket. Hoping that, with that sentiment, people will say, if he has stolen, he won't actually tell, or she won't say like that. So Krishna, in that sense, Krishna is saying, I didn't eat mud, you can even check my mouth. Then Mother Yashoda says, okay, open mouth. That's how that Leela goes. And then Krishna opens. Inside she sees the whole Brahmanda. Anyway, there are a lot of details there. But the point here is, Krishna is very, very dear to his devotees. Devotees are very, very dear to Krishna. Moreover, among those countless devotees, Prahlada stands out as the example of perfection. Now again, these are lines which Shiva is quoting, but these lines are stated by none other than Lord Narasimhadev himself. The Lord himself has described him in this way. Prahlada's good fortune is inconceivable. When the Lord tore apart Hiranyakashipu, all the demigods and goddess Lakshmi witnessed with our own eyes the incomparable fortune of Prahlada. And what's that incomparable fortune? Prahlad Maharaj brought him, placed him on his lap, and placed his hand on his head, gently rubbing. Just like how a parent would do with their baby, like that he does. Now Vishnu placing his hand on anyone else has never happened until that point. He has never given that favor even to Lakshmi ji, despite her being his own divine consort. He has never given that favor to Lord Shiva, not to Brahma, nor to anyone, not to Garuda, not to any one of the devotee. Lord Vishnu several times tried to offer him boons. Normally you will come across people doing tapasya, and then as soon as Vishnu comes, pay obeisances, dandavats pranam, glorify Vishnu, and then Vishnu says, okay, I am Varadaraj, ask me boon, and then they ask boon. Krishna says tatastu, and he goes. This is the normal sequence of events we come across in Puranas. Here, I'll read it. Please listen carefully. Lord Vishnu, not just once asking. Lord Vishnu is saying, I have come. I am Varadaraj. I have to give you boon. Ask for a boon. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, no, I don't want. He was just a 5-year-old boy. Lord Vishnu, not just once. Lord Vishnu, several times. Puna Punar Vaman Dishtur, it's given. Repeatedly he's asking, hey, ask for a boon.
He says, no, I don't want. No, I have to give you. Ask for a boon. This is what Vishnu is saying. He says like, no, my Lord, I don't want our dealing to be like business. You are my Lord and I am your servant. That's all I want. He's saying, no, you ask me something. He says like, no. Lord Vishnu several times tried to offer him boons, but Prahlada refused to ask to be liberated. So Prahlada rejects the boon. He's saying, no, I want to just offer bhakti to you. Instead, he chose only pure devotion. And then Narsinghadev repeatedly asks him, no, you have to ask boon. Then he says, may my father be liberated. For that only Narsinghadev says, what about your father? All 14 generations liberated. Ask something for you. He says, no. No, you have to ask. Then Prahlad Maharaj says, Yedi dasesi me kaman varamstam varadarishabha kamanam stiha samrogam bhavatastu vrinevaram. He says, my Lord, if you really want to ask me boon, okay, I ask you this boon. You know that material desire I may have in my heart that may make me to ask something material, remove that material desire, he says. You remove even that desire, then Narsinghadev becomes so pleased, Nobody has turned away boon like that. Narsinghadev becomes very pleased and he glorifies him. He wants only pure devotion, 5-year-old boy. That's why he is glorified as the best devotee. Lord Vishnu several times tried to offer him boons, but Prahlada refused to ask to be liberated. Instead, he chose only pure devotion. I bow down before him. Says who? Lord Shiva. My dear sage, Bali violated spiritual etiquette by disobeying. Now he is saying, quoting that verse, Bhakter Bhakta Janapriya. He says, not only Prahlad Maharaj is dear, you will see how much Vishnu went out of his ways simply to please Prahlad Maharaj. First example he is giving is Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj, we all know, he conquered the heavenly kingdom also. And he was ascending the throne as Indra. And he appointed different demons as Chandra, Surya, Vayu. He is giving each one of the posts to different demons. At that point, what's happening is, Vamanadev comes and he, on the pretext of asking 3 pieces of land, or 3 paces of land rather, 3 steps land which he could scale with the 3 steps, he says, he conquers the higher planetary system, lower planetary system. In 2 steps he covers everything. And then he asks Bali Maharaj, you are going back on your promise. Where should I put the 3rd step? Can you imagine? Somebody asks for something small, they taken away everything from you and they say, you still haven't fulfilled your promise. That's what he did to Bali. And then Bali Maharaj says, my Lord, please put your feet on my head. This belongs to me. This is where then Lord places his lotus feet on his head and then he pushes him down to Sutala planet. Now Shiva is saying this and then Bali Maharaj is glorified by Vamanadev. And then Vamanadev later he becomes the doorkeeper of Sutala planet. It's given there to protect Bali Maharaj because he is very pleased with Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj, even though he is also a demon, Bali Maharaj is grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. Bali Maharaj's father is Virochan. Virochan is son of Prahlad Maharaj. So he is grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. Bali Maharaj is also one of the 12 Mahajanas, greatest devotee of the Lord, known for Atma Nivedanam, one who surrendered everything to the Lord. Now Shiva is saying to Narada Muni, Krishna is so great. Have you ever come across any instance where somebody purchased Krishna using their all wealth and property? No, because Krishna has got everything. Then he is giving an insight here telling to Narada Muni, do you really think that what Bali Maharaj offered to Vamanadev is good enough for Bali Maharaj to be sold out to him? Shiva says, no, that's not the reason. He is saying the reason why Vamanadev accepted what Bali Maharaj has given to him, the reason why Vamanadev till date is standing as the doorkeeper, even now, as we speak. Below us, there are 7 planetary systems. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. Sutala planet, 3rd planetary system. Below, Bali Maharaj is still there. And protecting Bali Maharaj because Vishnu doesn't want anyone to come and disturb Bali Maharaj in his devotion. So he is standing there as a gatekeeper. That's the boon he gives him. He says Bali Maharaj didn't give him enough to purchase Vamanadev because Bali Maharaj all he offered is just material possessions. Of course, Bali Maharaj is a great devotee. But he says the real reason why Vamanadev personally went to Sutala planet to be with the Bali Maharaj is to show favor to Prahlad Maharaj. Why? When that whole Leela happened, Prahlad Maharaj was also standing there and witnessing. And Shiva is then now, will quote, and I can substantiate this statement with what Vamanadev himself told to Prahlad Maharaj. After telling to Bali, you go down to Sutala planet, pushing him down, then he looks at Prahlad Maharaj and he says, Prahlad Maharaj, I think you should take some break. You also can actually go to Sutala planet, spend some time with your grandson. I will see you soon. Can you imagine Supreme Lord talking to a devotee like that? This is his position. Prahlad Maharaj's position. So Shiva says, this is the proof Bali Maharaj is favored by Supreme Lord only because of Prahlad Maharaj. His connection with Prahlad Maharaj. No, in both cases, second instance he is giving Banasura, again who is descendant of Bali Maharaj. He fights with Krishna. His daughter Usha is married to Krishna's grandson Aniruddha. But before that marriage, they imprison Aniruddha first. When Banasura realizes that his daughter is in a relationship, daughter is Usha and she's in a relationship with Aniruddha. And then Krishna comes along with the Pradyumna and they fight. In that war, Krishna chops off, Banasura had 1,000 hands. He chops off all the hands except 4 hands. So he leaves him with just 4 hands. Not only that, normally when Krishna releases Sudarshana Chakra, you will come across, either Krishna will release it or he won't release it. If he releases, we know what the ending will be. What happens if Krishna releases Sudarshan Chakra towards someone? The person will be killed. Okay, there is no counter for Sudarshan Chakra, you will always see. So the person has hope until Krishna releases the chakra. If he releases, you will never see instance where Sudarshan Chakra just went there and says, okay, bye-bye, and he comes back. You will never see that. There are many instances when Sudarshana Chakra itself will actually go. It's a personality. Like in the case of Ambarish Maharaj, if you see, Krishna is in Yoga Nidra. We saw recent Ekadashi, Shayana Ekadashi, Ashada Ekadashi. This Ekadashi is famous because this is the time when Krishna in Kshirodaka ocean, he actually goes to Yoga Nidra. He sleeps. But it's called conscious sleep, not the sleep we do. Krishna also takes rest, but he is still fully aware of what's happening. Okay, and then later this year he'll wake up during Damodar month. That's why Damodar month is the Mangalarati of demigods. That's the time Krishna has woken up from bed. So, the reason why normally when Sudarshan Chakra goes, it kills everyone. In one such instance, when Krishna is in Yoga Nidra, Ambarish Maharaj is in danger because of a demon that's actually created by Durvasa Muni. Sudarshana Chakra doesn't even wait for Krishna to release. It itself comes. So there are instances when Sudarshana Chakra itself comes, but when Krishna releases, always it's only one ending. The enemy will be killed. In this instance, enemy is not killed, only his hands are chopped off. But then when Shiva comes, asking, begging for Krishna, Krishna, this is my devotee, please spare his life. Then Krishna says, all right. And then he spares him. Not only does he spare him, he gives him a position in spiritual world. Bana Asura. Bana Asura's contribution is nothing. Shiva is saying, it's not because of my prayer Krishna favored him. The only reason why Krishna favored Banasura is just like Bali Maharaj is grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, Banasura is great grandson of Bali Maharaj. And later on also you will see Dhenukasura. Dhenukasura is also one of the descendants of Bali Maharaj. That's why when Dhenukasura, the ass demon, you will come across that in Talavan. In Krishna book, if you actually see, when Dhenukasura is starting to gallop towards Krishna, Krishna is ready to kill. At that time he is remembering, I promised Prahlad Maharaj I will protect everyone in his line. Then thinking about his dilemma, Balaram then steps forward and then Balaram kills. That's how Acharya is read. That's why Balaram kills Dhenukasura, despite Krishna being present there. And Krishna kills all other demons. All of his other friends he kills, but Dhenukasura alone, Balaram kills, because he makes the promise there. So Shiva is citing all of these evidences, saying, you can see in all these instances, simply to please Prahlad Maharaj, Krishna has given all this favor to people who are related to him. No, in both the cases, the Lord acted out of affection for Prahlad, which is both the cases of Bali Maharaj and Banasura, his most beloved devotee. But what more about this can I say in the presence of Gauri, the close friend of goddess Lakshmi? Now he is whispering in his ear and he is saying, look, this is how much I can say. Why? Because goddess Gauri, who is his wife Parvati, she is nearby. She wouldn't like someone else to be glorified as a greater devotee than her close friend Lakshmi. So this is how much I can say. So he is whispering in his ears. Go quickly to Sutala, offer Prahlada your countless blessings, embrace him and tell him, I embrace him again and again. Unfortunately, that best of saintly persons will not tolerate our bowing down to him. Says who? Lord Shiva. Bowing down to him or praising him, if you want to avoid getting into trouble, do not neglect this fact. Which means he is telling to Narada Muni, don't offer obeisances to him. He won't actually let you to do. You can just embrace him again and again. And then, please offer my, please accept my humble obeisances. Like that he says, you please accept my humble embraces. And then you embrace on my behalf also. So this is how this chapter finishes. Third chapter. First chapter we saw is Bauma, earth. There we discussed about two devotees, one in Prayag, another one in South India. The name of those two devotees are not given. Second we saw Divya, which is in heaven or heavenly planetary system. We saw two devotees there. One is Indra and the other one is Brahma. And then after that we then came to Prapancha Atita. Prapancha means material creation. Tita, Atita is beyond material creation, which is spiritual world. So here we saw Lord Shiva, residents of Vaikuntha, Lakshmiji and Prahlad Maharaj. And now Narada Muni is going to go to Harivarsha in Prahlad Maharaj. As I said, we'll pause here and let's refresh our memory with the Vedic cosmology, which we will go through next week. Just the overall structure of this universe, as well as spiritual world. That itself is a different discussion. But as I said, I was thinking, as we go through these 14 chapters, we have finished 3 chapters now. We will revisit cosmology at least a couple more times. Okay, but this time, next week, we'll just see what is inside this universe, about the different planetary systems. And we'll focus on the Bhumandala, especially. How many dvipas are there and what are the different varshas and what is happening in each places. We had a seminar during COVID time. I may use some of those slides, we'll see. Okay, so that's what we are going to discuss next week. Any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, I'll be sending. Those of you who are already registered in email, I'll be sending you. So when you watch the class, you can have a look at those slides.
Very good class. Again, I am able to understand a lot of things. Okay. Just a quick question. What was the reason why Nanaji is searching who is the most lovable devotee? Is the most
So he can glorify and he can take association. Narada Muni is also a great devotee. He is going to Prahlad Maharaj. Guess who is the guru of Prahlad Maharaj? Narada Muni. So in good question, Prabhupada explains in Krishna consciousness, in Bhakti Yoga, the more one progresses, more one feels unqualified. So the topmost devotee will be the most humblest devotee. Here we see Lord Shiva, how humble he is. So it's given in Bhagavatam itself, Vaishnavanam, Nimnaganam yata Ganga, Devanam achyuto yata, Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu, Purananam idam tata. So Shiva is the topmost of all the devotees. So he is so humble. Likewise you see Brahmaji, he is our guru, under whom we have the whole parampara. So we can see the more one progresses in bhakti, more one becomes more and more humble. So here Narada Muni is also feeling so humble. I want to take the darshan. Now Narada Muni's, to understand Narada Muni's position, we'll see in second canto, or rather the second part of brihadbhagavatamrita. I'll just touch on one point. Second part talks about Gopakumar. Here we see the journey of Narada Muni to different parts of material universe, touches on spiritual planet, again comes back to Bhu Vrindavan. But in second part, you will see the travel of Gopakumar to different realms in spiritual world. So that talks about only Vaikuntha planets, or Bhu Vrindavan, like that. One point he notices is, wherever he goes, he sees Narada Muni. Okay, he goes to Vaikuntha, he sees Narada Muni. He goes to Ayodhya, he sees Narada Muni. He goes to Mahavishnu Loka, he sees Narada Muni. And at one point he sees, and then he goes to Narada Muni, he says like, hey, you are everywhere. Then Narada Muni smiles and he says, this Vibhuti that you see, Vibhuti means power, opulence, is possible only for Krishna, but Krishna can empower sometimes some jivas like me, who can also expand. Because Narada Muni desires to worship Lord in so many different ways, Krishna gives him that opulence to expand also those many times. So he is with every avatar of Krishna, Narada Muni, and he is glorifying them. So Narada Muni's glory, it will come. In Bhagavatam, the greatest devotee who gets glorified in each and every canto, to feature in each and every canto, is Narada Muni only. Krishna will be there and then Narada Muni. Likewise, Ramayana, some acharyas say the purpose of Ramayana is only to glorify Hanumanji. Like that. Okay, so Narada Muni here, he is very humble, he wants to glorify devotees. Because he is the topmost glorifier of all, being the greatest devotee. So he is taking his humble stance, he is wanting to see who is the one, who is the greatest. And along the way, he is also revealing, like just like when Krishna says, Naisham matistavad urkramangram, it's given. Urkrama means any big mammoth activity, Krishna will do very effortlessly. I always give this example, Vamanadev. Have you seen long jump in Olympics? Just to jump 25 yards, people will run like 100 yards. Have you ever seen Vamanadev running like that for scaling? Standing in one place, finished. And then, okay, Ganga also can come, he's poking. One activity, he'll do many things like that. So many pastimes are there, just with him lifting the feet. Just lifting the feet. How many steps did we take, coming here? Nobody cares about us. Krishna closes his eyes, Leela happens. Krishna opens his eyes, Leela happens. How many of you have eaten mud? I think all of us. Nobody cared about even talking to us. Most likely would have gotten gentle slap from our parents. Krishna is eating, there is like pages and pages of Shastras. So anything Krishna does, he achieves many things. Narada Muni, pure devotees are also like that. You study Prabhupada's Leelamrita, how much Prabhupada would plan ahead of time, you will see. Things, places where there are no people there, Prabhupada says, no, build a temple here, things will happen like that. Be it Vrindavan, be it even Juhu temple, everywhere. Wherever Prabhupada went and he says okay, do it, it happens. Bhubaneswar temple, it was totally in a forest, nothing was there. The road, main road itself was something like so many kilometers away. So that was the location actually. Prabhupada says no, you do this and then everything will develop from here like that. So you will see that opulence being displayed in part by Narada Muni as well. That's what he is doing. Hare Krishna. Okay, unless there are any other questions, we'll stop here. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai. Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Shri Gauranitai ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Radha Gopinath's devotees ki jai. Devotees in YouTube ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu.